Hi, Vancouver Opera. My name is Luka Kawabata, and I am back again to talk with one of our Yulanda M. Faris Young Artist alumni, tenor Matthew Dalen. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks so much, Luca. Happy to be here.
Thanks so much for chatting with us, Matt. So Matt, I know that you have lived really like all over this country, including Vancouver, all the way to Quebec. Can you describe each province that you've lived in one word?
All right. Um, uh, Ontario, I would say, was fast, maybe, in Toronto. Vancouver was wet, and Quebec was passionate. And Alberta is home.
Yeah. So you just said that you are from Alberta, you grew up there. How would you say that growing up in northern Alberta has informed the artist who you are today?
Oh, that's an awesome question. You know, I think a lot of people don't realize this, but Northern Alberta and much of Canada is still like pioneer homesteader society in a big way. Today it's minus 40, feels like minus 45 outside, and multiple times throughout the year, you are confronted with the life-threatening power of nature. In a lot of ways, you have to plan for that. You can't hide from it, and you can't forget. And there's something about that connection to the land, the connection to being alive and, making sure you stay alive in a lot of ways that insists upon you these questions about what that means. What does it mean to engage with my life? What does it mean to engage with the experience of being alive? And that's art in a lot of ways. So there's so many artists that come from my community. We export some incredibly heavy hitters, even in the world of opera, like Royce Favrick, a Pulitzer Prize winning librettist. Taylor Pardell's a great singer that's in New York right now. Like the list goes on and on and on. Kaylee Cardinal just had her debut with the ESO for the New Year's Eve concert there. There's a plethora of incredible artists from this area, not just in music, but in the visual arts. For me, I think that's it.
Every time I'm in Grand Prairie, one of the places that we always go to is the art gallery, which it's always so good. Every time I
It's
visit
a
it.
great art gallery. It's really, really good.
Yeah. So curious, what drew you to opera and classical music specifically?
I grew up in the Grand Prairie Boys Choir. It is now the largest boys choir, I'm pretty sure this is correct, in all of Canada. It is, I think at the most, it's had about 150 boys in it, and it might grow. But I was super captivated by choral singing from like a young age. I would sit out of rehearsals that my sister was having in the choir she was in, because I had to wait for her to walk me home because she was my big sister. And I would sit there and I learned all the parts and all the music just like outside. And I thought this was the most glorious thing that anybody had ever done. It was like, how can you sing one note and then when you sing another note that's different, it sounds better. Like it does this incredible thing with harmony in your brain. It's like, what's happening? How do we not talk about how amazing this is more often? It just seemed like the secret to life. So I always was interested in choirs, and then honestly, I didn't even know what opera was. Like I had no idea about the whole world of classical music and this whole, tradition of using music and art to really explore your soul. until I was graduating high school and I wanted to get a Bachelor of Science degree, and I needed to upgrade my chemistry because I took bio and physics and was I guess a dummy about it. And I decided to take some voice lessons here at Northwestern Polytechnic. It used to be GPRC, Grand Prairie Regional College, as I was upgrading that. And my teacher at the time was like, wow, you really have something here. I think you could be a professional opera singer. And I was like, what's that? So I went to the library, I picked up some DVDs of Don Giovanni, of like all of the Pontes and all these different like classics like Traviata. And I went home and I started watching them and I thought, wow, this is everything I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. This is movement on stage. This is acting. This is singing and music at the highest level, all in one art form. It's like the entire effort of civilization coming together for, 60 minutes to 4 hours.
Give or take.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Grand Prairie Boys Choir, and I know that there was once a video of you singing Venement, ma bien-aimée avec, with a choir that I happened upon.
No!
I think it's just so interesting because maybe in North America, there isn't as much of a culture around especially young boys singing, but I know that this choir has been like pretty present for a while. Why do you think in a small town that this kind of choir has been able to thrive compared to other places?
I thought about this a lot because it is a very magical thing. And I've been working a lot with the boys choir since I've been back in town, running rehearsals because the conductor's in Mexico on vacation, and she kind of told me that I'd be taking over the choir for the week. And it is very unique, and I think it is because of the remote nature of this community. This is an institution that is not associated with like a boys choir per se. In bigger communities, there's so much for kids to do that they really pick things that are in line with their personality or the archetype of who they want to be when they grow up. So you can't be a hockey player and sing in the boys choir. You can't be, doing all of these different extracurriculars because you want to be a lawyer when you grow up and be in the boys choir or do all these things. Whereas here, the only thing that is associated with the boys choir is excellence. So if you want the best for your kid, whether they are super into hockey or basketball, sports, academics, art, whatever it is, the boys choir represents the training to just become an excellent human. And that's something that's baked right into it. It's about building a generation of men who have integrity and kindness and camaraderie. And that's really the focus of the choir. It's not so much, being a competition choir that goes all over the world. We do competitions and they do quite well, but it's really about having this opportunity, like men singing together. It's this here. We've started to teach people that that's the manliest thing you can do.
Totally.
I got to conduct the Christmas rehearsals for this one piece. Every Christmas, all of the dads are invited to come on stage and sing with their sons on stage. It's so special. And this is, it's northern Alberta. Like, this isn't Toronto, this isn't Vancouver. For those dads, some of them felt pretty nervous about going on stage and singing, and like they felt awkward about it, maybe pressured by the institution this has become to do it. But it was probably one of the more meaningful things I've ever done was run those rehearsals and encourage these dads that, hey, you go up there and you are sharing this moment with your kids and they're seeing you do that. And there's this incredible investment in their children's lives, in their children's confidence. and in that relationship with music, like sharing space and time in making music is probably one of the more intimate things you could ever do.
Great.
And for young men to learn that together, especially in a community like this, it is something that changes so much about the world. So I think that that's kind of the secret sauce. It's that we're not coming at these kids and how can I just make you a better singer? How can I give you just the best musical education? It's like, how can I be a part of the story that turns you into the best man you can be? And what does that mean?
Yeah, it's the power of music beyond just the notes on the page.
Yeah, if music just exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but I got excited. Like, if music ended at the end of the piece, if it ended there, it wouldn't be anything. Like, we remember these pieces because of what we're thinking about for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week. You know, like somebody goes see and listens to Mahler 8, they leave and they're like changed. You know, this is the gift that we're going to share.
Yeah. So you were recently appointed as artistic director of the Peace Region Music Series, and I definitely want to chat with you about that. First of all, what is the Peace Region Music Series, and what can we expect going forward with your new leadership?
You can expect a lot of learning on my part. The Peace Region Music Series, it's a music series that was started by Tina and Brad Alexander, or Tina Alexander Luna, and Brad Luna, and Tina was an instructor here at Northwestern Polytechnic when they had the music program, and she decided to create this series as a way to bring, her and Brad decided to create this series as a way to bring classical music to the community, more opportunities to take, the recital out of the recital hall, to bring it to the population, increase accessibility. And it was very, very successful, and they were doing well, but the music program at Northwestern Polytechnic actually closed. And when that happened, Tina had to really reevaluate whether she could stay in this community. You know, I think they hope they can come back, but they decided to go back to Ontario for a while. So they needed somebody to jump into the role. And when they mentioned it to me, I was like, wow, that is an awesome opportunity for me. So the Peace Region encompasses a big chunk of northern Alberta, like northwestern Alberta, and then parts of BC going into Dawson Creek. So what we're hoping to do is to run two series, or two parts of the series, the Inspire series and the Enrich series. So we'll have the Enrich series, which will be very accessible concerts, local talent, building up the next generation here. And then the Inspire series will be, us flying in talent from across Canada and eventually throughout the world, quartets, ensembles, soloists, and hopefully in bigger venues.
Yeah, that's so cool and so inspiring. And a little tidbit that I know about the Peace Region is that if anyone needs another reason to visit, the Peace Region is responsible for, I think it's about like 30% or more of the honey that is produced in Canada. So that is worth visiting.
You could almost thank the bees for me being a singer.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's true. But quite literally, because the boys' choirs in Grand Prairie, the boys' choirs started because the conductor's husband is an entomologist, I think. He studies bees for a living. Wow. So he came here to study the bees and study colony collapse and stuff like that, a big issue. And the conductor, Jeannie, she kind of was hauled here because her husband got this job. And She had I think 60 boys in a boys choir already in Vancouver. She was already established there, really creating something. And then she came here and she just kind of created this thing. And because of that, I got to be a part of this world. So in a lot of ways, yeah, you could thank the bees. I thank the bees.
Oh, well, we'll all pray to the bees, or at least during these cold months.
Exactly.
Okay, so I have a little rapid fire opera game for us to play. I'm going to give you 2 operas, and you're just going to use your gut, follow your heart between them, and just choose between them which you prefer.
Okay.
First, Traviata or Bohème?
Bohème.
Bohème or Fidelio?
Bohème.
Bohème or Dead Man Walking?
Bohème.
Bohème or Barber of Seville?
Bohème.
Bohème or Peleas?
Bohème.
Bohème or Lucia?
Oh. Bohème.
Bohème or Freischütz?
Bohème.
Bohème or La Beauté du Monde?
Oh. Well, I have to say Beauté du Monde.
Beauté du Monde or Nozze di Figaro?
Oh, Nozze.
Nozze or Merry Widow?
Nozze.
Nozze or Werther?
Werther.
Werther or Bluebeard's Castle?
Werther.
Werther or Tristan and Isolde?
Oh. The Werther, sorry.
Werther or Rosenkavalier?
Oh, Werther.
Werther or Yennefer?
Oh. I'll have to do Werther. Yeah.
Werther or Achnaten?
Oh, I really quite like that, but it's Werther again.
Werther or Dr. Atomic?
Werther.
Werther or Norma?
Werther.
Werther or Dialogues of the Carmelites?
Oh, Dialogues of the Carmelites.
Dialogues of the Carmelites or Carmen?
Oh, Dialogue.
Dialogues. And Dialogues reign supreme.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
Okay, so I have one last question for you, Matt, but before we do that, I just want to thank you so much for coming and chatting with us. It's amazing to give our Vancouver opera community a chance to reconnect with the alumni of the Young Artist Program and also just get a sense to see how these programs help young and emerging singers to take the first steps in their career to now to a point where you are, where you're singing all over the world and artistic director of a new flourishing music series as well. So my last question to you is, what is inspiring you for the future of music in Canada?
I would say every day, and more now, I'm confronted with people who are feeling a little more excited. There's just this, I just feel it, and maybe it's because it's the new year, maybe it's because with social media, certain messages just kind of rise to the top, certain optimism you kind of get confronted with. There's a lot of big problems that we're all aware of in our industry and, just in the time right now. But I find with all of those questions, there's people brave enough to ask the questions and maybe come up with a suggestion and a solution. And I think there's this sort of pervasive energy of, teamwork and community that seems to be coming up. And music is community. And the more we're building that with things like this and just new people stepping into roles where they get to make decisions and try things, I start to feel very, very excited for the future.
Yeah, bringing people together. That's what it's all about. Well, Well, thanks for chatting with us, Matt. We will see you soon, and best of luck. We will all be keeping our eyes open for the amazingness of the Peace Region Music Series.
Thanks so much, Luka. And thanks for having me on. It's really cool what you guys are doing here, and we'll all be watching you as well.